Hey guys, tonight we're heading somewhere quieter. Too quiet. A world after the noise, after the networks, after the fall. Cities are gone, silence is survival, and even hope has to whisper. This isn't the apocalypse you've seen in movies. It's colder, slower, realer. So maybe dim the lights, let the static hum of your room fill the silence, and let's step into the end together. And hey, if you find yourself lost in this world with me, consider tapping like, leaving a thought in the comments, or subscribing. Even in the quiet, small signals matter. You wake before the sun, not because of an alarm, not because of habit. You wake because the silence is too perfect. That's how mornings start now, not with birds, not with sirens or alarms or any of the gentle lies that used to separate night from day. Mornings begin with tension, the kind that pulls behind your eyes, that whispers in your spine. Something's coming. You sit up. The shelter creaks around you. Fiberglass, scavenged panels, reinforced by sheet metal and hope. Outside, the wind scrapes over dead grass and cracked soil. No trees to slow it, no buildings to echo it, just open, endless nothing. You've made it through another night. And that's not nothing. You stand, stretch. Every joint snaps like a warning shot. Your body's a map of old bruises, healed fractures and memories you didn't ask for. You reach for your boots, still damp from yesterday's run, and slide them on without socks. Socks are a luxury. You step outside. The light hasn't broken the horizon yet, but the sky is bleeding colour, deep red shifting to grey. You scan the edges of the field where the tall grass ends and the world begins. Movement is rare out here, but that doesn't mean it isn't watching. First job of the day, check the traps. You walk in a slow, deliberate path. Each step practiced, like a song you've sung too many times. You marked the trail with stones and wire flags, low to the ground. Easy to miss unless you know what you're looking for. Trap 1, empty. Bait untouched. Trap 2, sprung. Nothing inside. Wire chewed. Trap 3, jackpot. A hare, lean, scrappy, barely enough meat to matter, but it's something. You kneel, whisper thanks, and reset the snare. When the fall happened, people thought it would be sudden, fire and flood, explosions and screaming. That's how the movies told it. But the fall wasn't loud, it was quiet. 1,000 systems failing one by one, governments folders. Nang into dust, satellites blinking out like dying stars, communications fading until even static was a luxury. One day you woke up and realized no one was coming. That's when survival began. You sling the rabbit over your shoulder and return to the shelter. Inside, it's already warming with the heat of the rising sun, just enough to stink up the small space. You hang the rabbit, skin it fast, careful, waste nothing. Water next. You pull on the filter rig, something cobbled together from 2 air conditioning units and a bicycle pump, and head for the ridge. That's where the dew gathers. You pump, wait, pump again. A few ounces of clean water drip through the mesh. It tastes like metal and moss, but it won't kill you. You drink. Then pour some on your hands, then save the rest. You eat slow. Half the rabbit today, half tomorrow. Nothing is guaranteed past tomorrow. Back inside, you unroll the map. It's more patch than paper now, held together by tape and thread. You've marked every abandoned town, every hostile zone, every place where water might still be found. But there's a new mark now, one you didn't put there, a red X. It appeared 2 days ago, burned into the page. You didn't sleep that night, now you stare at it, and you decide tomorrow you go find it. The map lies open in front of you like a dare. That red X wasn't there before. You've studied the map every morning, every night, every time the wind howled a little too long outside. You know this paper, every crease, every stain, every smudge. But the mark, new, burned in, not drawn, not ink, not charcoal. Something scorched it. That means 2 things. 1, someone else had access to your shelter. 2, they wanted you to find it. You trace the edges of the X with a gloved fingertip. The location is maybe 30 clicks south. Unmarked land, no ruins, no road, just wild. The kind of place even desperate survivors avoid. But you can't ignore it. The world doesn't give signs anymore. It barely breathes. So when something changes, when something moves, you pay attention. You pack fast. Half the food, all the water, knife, flare, rope, tarp, the tracker, still useless, but habit says bring it. You leave the rabbit bones in the fire pit. Maybe something will smell them and decide this place has been claimed. You head out at dawn. The air is sharper today, thinner. It moves over the ground like it's looking for secrets. You don't follow a path. There are no paths. You follow the map. You follow the X. You move like a ghost through forgotten wheat fields and skeletal forests. Time slips, the sun crawls. At noon you rest beneath a bent metal sign buried in vines. You brush it clean. Welcome to Mayfield, a place for families. You laugh once, dry and humorless. Nothing but the wind lives here now. You eat a strip of meat, chew until your jaw aches, then move again. By late afternoon, the land begins to shift, the soil darkens, you see signs of fire, old burns, long cooled, tree stumps blackened at the root. Something happened here. You step carefully now. Around dusk, you reach the coordinates. Flatland, empty, but not untouched. You spot it right away, a metal pole buried deep into outdoor. Oh, the earth, sticking up maybe 3 feet. Wires dangle from it, snapped or cut. A plate welded to its side reads, Uplink node, status, offline. You blink, uplink. That word hasn't meant anything in over a year. You drop your pack, circle the node. No fresh prints, no shelter, no footprints. But something's off. You run your hand along the pole, feel a ridge just below the soil line. You dig, bare hands, fast. You uncover a hatch, square, bolted. A panel beside it, scorched glass, cracked screen, but a single LED faintly glows red. Still powered, still waiting. You lean closer, heart pounding. And just before the sun dies behind the hills, the LED turns green. Green. You haven't seen that colour glow in over a year. Not on a screen, not on a device, not from anything man-made. You reach for the hatch. The bolts are stiff, rusted at the edges, but the centre turns smoothly. Too smoothly. Someone's maintained this, or opened it recently. You brace your feet, twist. With a soft hiss, the hatch releases. Air escapes, cool, stale, dry. Not mouldy, not toxic, filtered. You hesitate, then descend. A metal ladder drops into darkness. You count each rung with your boots. 12, 18, 20. The hatch closes automatically above you, and for a moment the blackness swallows everything. Then lights. Dim at first, yellow, motion triggered. A corridor flickers to life beneath your feet. Narrow, industrial, smooth steel walls lined with dustless conduit. You recognize the design. Military grade. Not civilian, not commercial, intentional. Your breath catches. You keep walking. At the end of the corridor, a door, reinforced, thick, no handle, just a panel to the right. You press your hand against it. Nothing. Then, a mechanical whir. The door opens. You step into a room the size of a shipping container. Bare, except for a desk, 2 chairs, and a screen set into the wall. As the door slides shut behind you, the screen flares to life. A face, pixelated, soft features, human. Almost. You step back, then it speaks. Welcome, survivor. The voice is calm, artificial, but not cold. It wants to sound human. You've heard AI before, in the old world. Navigation systems, smart assistants, automated trains. This one's different. It continues. You have found Relay Point 06. This node was programmed to activate only upon confirmation of intelligent biological presence following surface collapse. You don't say anything. The AI doesn't seem to care. This station holds data, not orders, not weapons, memory, truth. A full index of the fall, as observed. By satellite, drone and ground source, this archive has waited for 517 days. You blink, you realize what this is. Proof. Why me, you ask. The AI pauses, like it's considering the question. Then, because you are still asking questions, you sit. The air here smells like ozone and plastic, clean, preserved. The AI speaks again. Would you like to view the fall? You hesitate, then nod. The screen goes dark, then begins to play. The screen flickers. For a second, nothing. Then, video. Not cinematic, not clean. Surveillance footage mostly. Dash cams, street corners, drones, audio layered in from satellite feeds and old emergency broadcasts. You watch the fall. Not from myth, not from memory, from fact. The AI narrates as the footage rolls. Collapse Phase 1. Economic spiral. The 5G financial network fragmentation began in South Asia. Credit defaults rippled west. Markets destabilized. AI-backed currency regulators failed to anticipate panic behavior. You see crowds flooding ATMs, police forming lines, then backing away. Collapse Phase 2, communication interruption. Undersea fiber lines severed in a seismic event off the Mariana Trench. Theories vary, but the blackout spread fast. Satellites began falling within 48 hours. You see footage of the sky at night, bright streaks cutting through the stars like God's own handwriting. Satellites falling, power grids following. Collapse Phase 3. Resource wars. Old boundaries meant nothing. Cities fell inward. Borders dissolved. Desperation outpaced diplomacy. You see cities burning from orbit. You see them disappear. One moment, Tokyo is a grid of lights. The next, just smoke. You see footage of refugee caravans being swallowed by dust storms, soldiers walking away from their own flags, people scavenging in rainstorms under the glow of broken neon. Then the screen goes black. The voice says, "The fall was not a bomb, it was a question," and the world chose silence. You sit still, jaw tight. You feel something rise in your throat. Not grief, not shock. Recognition. You lived the tail end of this, the long fade out. But this was the overture. Why show me this, you ask? Because the story is not over. The screen changes. You now see you. Captured from above, grainy aerial footage. You, standing in the clearing, opening the hatch. You ask. You're being observed. Not by us, by others. Not everyone fell. You stare. Where are they? You whisper. The screen goes dark again. Then a single image appears. Coordinates. Numbers burned into the center. Red, precise. The voice lowers. Go there. You are not the only one writing the next chapter. The door behind you hisses open. Fresh air leaks in. You stand and walk out. You emerge into a different kind of silence. Not the numb quiet of a dead world. This is the quiet that comes after knowledge, after you've seen too much and can't forget it. You climb out of the hatch. The sun's lower now, casting long shadows across the cracked earth. The wind moves through the tall grass like a whisper repeating your name. You look back at the hatch. It seals behind you with a slow, almost reluctant sigh. The coordinates are still fresh in your mind, burned in. You don't know what you're walking toward, but now you know what you're walking away from. You pack up, adjust your gear, set your compass. The path veers southeast toward the scarred edge of what used to be a shipping corridor, a long strip of land lined with collapsed rest stops, fuel stations, wrecked trucks. You haven't been that way in months. Too many patrols, too many bones. But the map doesn't offer alternatives. If someone left those coordinates, it means they want you to follow the road nobody walks anymore. You move fast. Each step is a negotiation between caution and urgency. You pass the rusted skeleton of an old convoy transport, the wheels long stripped, frame scorched from the inside out. A faded logo still clings to its side. United Transit, one road, one world. You laugh bitterly. There's only one road left, all right, and it's paved with ruin. By nightfall, you find shelter beneath a buckled overpass. You use a flare to cook a strip of the rabbit you saved, now barely edible, but better than chewing memories. You chew slowly, think. About the voice in the relay, about the AI, about the others, and about the fall. You ask yourself a question you haven't let surface in a long time. Why are you still alive? Luck? Instinct? Punishment? You don't answer. Not yet. You sleep in fits, one eye open, knife near your ribs. Just before dawn, the signal tracker, dead for months, chirps once. Not loud, not desperate, just enough to let you know you're not alone. By sunrise, you're already moving. The old trade road is barely recognizable, overgrown, cracked in places, outright swallowed by nature in others. What used to be a 4-lane artery is now a stitched scar running through the land, but it still leads forward. You walk it like you've never seen it before, and in a way, you haven't. Now you're not just surviving, you're searching. The tracker chirps again. Once, then goes quiet. It's not steady, just pulses, random, like a heartbeat with arrhythmia. But that means something's out there, something active. Midday heat settles like a punishment. You wrap your scarf tighter and drink the last of yesterday's water. You're counting ounces now. Every step forward is a promise you'll find more. Then, movement. Ahead, just past a broken toll booth, a shape. You drop low, press into the grass. A figure. moving slow, deliberate, alone. You wait, breathe shallow. It's a woman, tall, wrapped in layered cloth, gear strapped across her chest, a rifle slung over her back. Her eyes are hidden behind thick goggles. She's scanning, not scavenging, tracking. You tense. But then she raises a hand. A sign. Neutral. You rise, slow, hand raised. She doesn't speak, just watches. Then, with a quick motion, she tosses something into the grass between you. A bottle. Water. You nod once, she nods back. And just like that, she walks away. No words, no threats, just contact. Your hands tremble as you pick up the bottle. It's full, clean, sealed. You sit on the road's edge and drink. It's not just hydration, it's a message. Someone knows you're coming. You continue walking. The road begins to slope downward. Forest begins to reclaim the edges. Nature's trying, slowly, messily, to take the bones of the old world and dress them in green. A rusted sign leans against a collapsed pylon. 5 miles. Camp Zephyr. Emergency site. Do not enter without clearance. Yo. You remember that name? Heard it whispered once by a trader. They said it was abandoned, sealed, cursed. But now the signal's stronger. You check the tracker. Full bar. You've arrived. The trees open just enough to show you what remains of Camp Zephyr. It sits in a valley basin, half swallowed by fog, ringed with high chain-link fences topped in rusted coils of razor wire. Beyond them, rows of bunkers, prefab buildings, and a communications tower looming like a snapped spine against the sky. You crouch. There are lights. Working lights. Dim, flickering, probably solar, but lights. You hadn't seen artificial illumination in months. Your heart drums faster. You scan the perimeter. No guards, no patrols, but signs of life. A garden tarp strung between 2 shelters. A cookpot left outside. Tracks in the mud. Fresh. Someone's here. You approach low and silent, weaving through the remains of parked military transports. Their tires have sunk into the earth like they're trying to escape the surface. A side gate hangs slightly ajar. You slip through. Inside, the silence feels curated, like it's been arranged, the kind of quiet that exists when people are listening, not sleeping. You make it to one of the outbuildings and press your back to the cold metal siding. Then a voice behind you. Don't move. You freeze, hands out. You raise them. Footsteps approach, slow and heavy. Then a second voice, female. He's alone. A pause. Check him. A third figure pats you down, quick, efficient, finds your knife, your flare, your tracker. The tracker beeps once. The tone is familiar to them. The first voice, calmer now. Where did you get that signal code? You turn slowly. 3 people in worn tactical gear, not uniformed, independent. Their patches are mismatched, their weapons are real. The woman with the scanner narrows her eyes. You from Relay 6? You nod. Her face shifts, not quite surprise, more like confirmation. She steps closer. We didn't think anyone else made it out. You ask the only question that matters. Who are you? She answers, without hesitation. We're the ones who remember, and we're building something new. She nods toward the tower at the center of the camp. It started transmitting 2 days ago. You're the first to answer. The third guard lowers his rifle. You follow them through the gate. The camp isn't empty. It's humming. Generators. A small forge. Solar panels. Hydro rigs. Children. Sitting under an awning, learning to read from torn paper books. The woman introduces herself as Mara. She leads you to a circle of benches near a central fire pit. They offer you soup, and for the first time in forever, you sit among people, and no one is trying to take anything from you. The fire in the center of Camp Zephyr crackles soft and steady. You sit with a tin cup warming your hands, steam rising from a soup that tastes like roots, salt, and patience. Around you, 8 others form a rough semicircle, all watching you like a story they've waited to hear. Mara speaks first. No one's come through the outer perimeter in 3 weeks. Then the tower lit up, and today you show up. You nod. Relay 6. The AI said others were watching, tracking. It gave me your coordinates. A man named Rafe leans forward. He's older, greyer, with hands stained by soil and wire. The AI at 6 is one of the old DeepNet Guardians, most shut down when the satellites blinked out, but a few nodes had internal logic branches able to wait. To listen, you must have triggered a response loop. Another adds, we've been trying to re-establish the relay chain. Zephyr's tower has short range only, line of sight bounce, but with your signal we might hit another uplink to the east. You look around. Every face here carries weight. the kind that only comes from survival. They're not dreamers, they're builders. They ask what you saw, you tell them the hatch, the footage, the AI, the message. You are not alone. When you finish, silence settles over the group. Not disbelief, understanding. Then Mara reaches into a satchel and pulls out a small steel box. She sets it in the dirt. A blinking red light on its face pulses like a slow heartbeat. "This is the seed," she says. You lean in. She explains. "A signal core. Broadcast grade. We've been working on a portable uplink for months. Short range, encrypted. If we can plant it at a high enough point, we can jump a signal to the mountain grid. You understand instantly. Mount Grid. That's where the old NOAA station was." Rafe nods. "Last known position of Relay 3. If it's still there..." You finish his thought. Then it can light up Eve. Writhing south of the ridge. The plan is dangerous. Risky, but not impossible. They need someone to carry the seed. To move fast. Quiet. Someone the tower recognizes. Someone like you. Mara doesn't ask. She doesn't need to. You pick up the box. It's warm in your hands. Humming. Alive. The signal has been waiting. Now it needs a voice. The next morning, you leave Camp Zephyr before the fog lifts. The seed transmitter rides in your pack, nestled in cloth and foam, like an ember wrapped for travel. Mara gives you a final nod at the gate. No words, just respect. They don't expect you to come back. You don't promise that you will. The road northeast is steep and silent. You move through forests, clawing their way back from fire. Charred trees now bear green buds, nature's graffiti on the walls of collapse. By midday, the tracker pings, weak, faint, like a ghost trying to speak through static. Relay 3 is out there, but not broadcasting. Not yet. You pass through the remnants of a town clinging to the side of a ravine. Buildings tilt at odd angles like they're listening to the ground. A diner sign reads, "Open 24 hours." The O and N flickering faintly in the breeze. Inside the diner you find an old map nailed to the wall. You tear it down, study it. There's a ridgeline path east of town, faster than the switchbacks. It's more dangerous. You take it anyway. The climb burns. Every step is defiance. You pass collapsed towers, rusted power lines, and a toppled school bus turns sideways across the trail. Evening brings cold. You shelter beneath a limestone shelf, lighting no fire, just a meal bar and your thoughts. The seed transmitter hums softly, still alive. You sleep with one hand on your knife, the other on your pack. At dawn, the fog parts, and there it is, a shadow against the sky. Relay 3, tall, intact, but silent. No movement around it, no signs of life. You descend toward it with the caution of someone approaching a sleeping god. At the base of the tower, you find a hatch sealed shut with biometric locks. Beside it, a solar panel half covered in moss. You wipe it clean. The screen lights up. ID unconfirmed, please stand by. You hold your breath. The seed in your pack beeps once, then, signal recognized. The hatch opens. Air escapes like a sigh, and you step inside. The hatch seals behind you. For a second, there's no sound at all, just your breathing echoing off the narrow walls. Then, the tower wakes. Lights flicker on along the corridor, dim, pale green. Motion sensor track lines ignite like veins along the floor, guiding you deeper. You descend. Relay. 3 wasn't built like the others. This isn't just a node, it's a hub. You can feel it in the size of the hallway, in the hum of dormant power waiting just below audible. At the base, the room opens wide. A circular control chamber, walls lined with long dead terminals and blank screens. But at the centre, a cradle, exactly the size of the seed you're carrying. You approach slowly, pull the transmitter from your pack. It vibrates once in your hand, like it knows it's home. You set it into the cradle. A chime sounds. One screen blinks to life, then another, then all of them. Static floods the room, then clears, replaced by maps. Data overlays, names of other towers, some marked offline, others unknown, and 2 marked active, Relay 6, where your journey started. Zephyr, where others remembered. You hold your breath. A voice speaks, not from the seed, not from your own device, but from the grid. Uplink synchronization established, signal confirmed, Relay 3 is now active. The floor rumbles slightly beneath you. A feeling spreads, not heat, not vibration, energy, as if the tower is stretching after a long, cold sleep. One by one, other node names flash amber, then green. Relay 07, active, Relay 11, active, Relay 19, attempting connection. You stare as a web begins to form across the map. The old DeepNet infrastructure, backbones of communication that hadn't whispered in over a year. Now they're talking. The room brightens. And then a new voice. Human, static-wrapped, tired, but alive. This is Northern Grid Station Echo, confirming ping from Relay 3. We read you. Repeat. We read you. You step toward the mic. Your voice trembles, but only for a moment. This is Echo Finder from Relay 6. Zephyr confirmed. I planted the seed. A pause. Then, through the hiss. We thought we were the last. You smile. No one's last anymore. The grid is awake, and it's talking. Voices pour through the speakers of Relay 3. Not shouts, not screams, just contact. Faint transmissions from across the continent. A chorus of survival. Tower 11, still operational. 15 souls, 2 children, Eastern Ridge secured. We salvaged medical supplies, coordinates attached, use what you need, no claim. We are the Drift Valley Collective, broadcasting from the twin turbines. To anyone listening, you matter, you're not forgotten. You sit, stunned. This isn't noise, it's life. You tune the dials, calibrate reception, channels stabilize one after another. Relay names you've never heard before blink green across the board. One screen displays a rotating map, dots lighting up like stars over a blackened sky. One by one, forgotten lights begin to pulse. You speak, short and clear. This is Relay 3. The grid is open. Repeat, the grid is open. Static, then cheers. Real human cheers crackling over distant frequencies. Someone starts playing music through one of the nodes, a violin recording, scratchy but beautiful. Another responds with laughter. Not relief, joy. You realize what's happening. These people weren't just waiting, they were trying, whispering into the void, sending messages that never returned. Until now, you're the return. You open a direct link to Zephyr. Mara's face appears, grainy but visible. She's smiling, not just because she sees you, but because she knows what this means. We're hearing them, she says. We're all hearing each other. Behind her you catch glimpses of others gathered around the screen. The children, Rafe, a fire burning bright. You feel it deep in your chest. This isn't the end, it's the beginning of signal. You turn back to the console and begin archiving voices, logging coordinates, mapping pathways. Each connection is another thread in the net, a net strong enough to carry hope. Then one voice breaks the rhythm. Different. Urgent. This is Tower 9. To any active relays, we have a situation. Repeat, we are compromised. The room falls still. You lean in. There's a group. Armed, mobile, hostile to signal hubs. They call themselves the Black Quiet. They're cutting towers, killing witnesses. They're not interested in peace. You freeze. You ask the only question that matters. Where are they now? The voice crackles back. We don't know, but they're listening too. The room shifts. Not physically, but emotionally. The warmth of rediscovered voices turns cold, focused. You lean closer to the speaker, willing more clarity out of the static. Tower 9's voice returns, shaken but steady. They don't use radios, they don't broadcast. They track heat, signal bleed and sound. They believe the old world should stay silent. They call us noise. You repeat the name in your mind. The Black Quiet. The idea makes sense in the way only the worst truths do. A group dedicated not to power, but to erasure. Not just survival, but silence. Organized chaos, the anti-signal. You switch frequencies. Other towers report similar stories. Southern Relay burned. We found bodies. They marked the walls with black ash. Lost contact with Valley Station. Last message said they were coming on foot. They wear no insignia, no faces, just dark visors and silence. You step away from the console. Think. This changes everything. The network you helped awaken, the voices lighting up across the continent, they're beacons now, targets. Every connection could draw fire. You call Zephyr again. Mara answers fast. She's already heard. They were just rumours, she says, jaw clenched. Now they're not. What will you do, you ask. She pauses. Exactly what we plan to. Build, connect, defend it if we have to. You hear others behind her, hammering, stacking crates, loading supplies. They're not running. They're fortifying. She looks at you through the screen. We always knew hope would be hunted. The signal pings again. Another voice. Older. Calm. This is Relay 14. We've had 2 encounters. They hit fast, then vanish. Leave nothing but burned comms and scorched ground. We're relocating our gear to underground nodes, low power, line of sight only. Smart, decentralize the net, keep the signal moving, but you know it's not enough. You stare at the map, the black. Quiet is out there, watching, waiting. You touch the edge of the console, not in fear, in defiance. You didn't come this far to whisper, you came to speak. The signal net shifts overnight. Gone is the open joy of reconnection. Now every relay whispers, every message is trimmed, encrypted, low band. You listen closely, you learn fast. Some towers have started transmitting in bursts, 10-second packets of data sent at irregular intervals, encoded and bounced through multiple nodes. Ghost frequencies, harder to trace, harder to stop. You spend the night calibrating Relay 3 to join the silent chorus. You kill the bright displays, switch to dark band operation. The tower's heart still beats, but now in a rhythm only survivors can hear. Every 30 seconds, it pulses. We are still here. Some towers go dark on purpose, not lost, just hidden. They're playing dead to lure out the black quiet. Trap teams, decoy pings. You admire the courage, but you don't envy the risk. At dawn, you intercept something strange. A shortwave bounce, origin unknown, 1-second blip, no voice, no pattern, just static. You rerun it, filter it. There, buried deep under the fuzz, a sequence, dashes and pauses, code. You pull out the journal you started 2 nights ago and begin writing. This is beyond coordinates, beyond names. It's a new language forming, shaped by fear, yes, but also by intelligence. Strategy, a whisper war. Rafe from Zephyr sends an update. We've moved all non-essential equipment below ground. Tower only transmits on the hour. 10 seconds. Children relocated to the bunker. We're armed now. No more illusions. Other towers follow. The grid is adapting. You call Echo, your first contact, the one who answered Relay 3's rebirth. A new voice picks up. This is Hal, Echo Station. We've moved twice. The black quiet took our last shelter. We barely made it out. Lost 6. 1 was 12. Silence. Then. But we brought the drive, all the data, everything. We'll rebuild. They can take towers, they won't take the truth. You sit in the dark and guess the tower gently pulsing behind you and realize this is the new war. Not for land, not for oil, not even for survival, but for memory. You pick up your mic and speak, not just to the towers, but to anyone listening on any frequency. If they want us quiet, they'll have to silence all of us, and we're everywhere now. A new blip pings across the screen. An unknown tower, no name, just one message. Let them come. Rain begins to fall. Thin at first, then steady. Cold drops patter against the steel walls of Relay 3 as you stand at the doorway staring into the mist. You haven't left the tower since activating the net, but the air feels heavier now, charged. You return inside, check your gear, then open the grid. The map is still lit, though now it's less a web and more a battlefield. Some relays glow steady, others flicker, active but under pressure. A few have vanished. Offline, but not gone. Many switched to off-grid ops. Others moved their signals to drones, weather balloons, short-burst relay bots. Creativity has become the new defense. The network lives because the people behind it refuse to disappear. Mara transmits a message. We launched 2 mobile relays, modified weather drones, sending burst data across terrain. No permanent node, no static target. We're ghosts now, but loud ones. Another station, Drift Valley, begins broadcasting a loop. Not a voice, a song, old, scratchy, piano and static, a lullaby. You recognize it. It played during the closing credits of a documentary from before the fall, a film about rebuilding after disaster. Someone chose it on purpose. You watch the grid and listen. More towers join in, not speech, sound, an anthem of resistance. Tower 9 answers with acoustic guitar. Tower 14 transmits a reading of the Declaration of Human Rights in 5 languages. Someone, unknown station, sends whale song. None of it is useful, strategically, but all of it is defiance. The black quiet wants silence, then this is rebellion. Sound becomes the weapon. Unencrypted, human and impossible to misinterpret. You return to the mic, hit record and read your journal aloud. Day 38 since activation. The grid lives, people speak, people sing, even in darkness, even while hunted. They won't stop us, not all of us. We're broadcasting proof of life, of memory, of intent. Let the quiet come. We'll answer with thunder. You upload the message, add it to the loop. Somewhere someone's listening and smiling. You feel it before you see it. That subtle shift in the air. That sensation, deep in your chest, like something staring through the trees. You check the tower's sensors. Motion detection is dead, fried by weather cycles and age, but your instincts, still sharp. You step outside Relay 3. The rain's stopped. Fog coils low along the ground. Visibility's thin, but not enough to hide everything. Tracks, boot prints, fresh. Deep in the mud, too defined to be yours. They circle the base of the tower, deliberate, measured, watching. You move quietly along the ridge, crouch beside a cluster of rocks. There, broken pine needles, a trail leading back into the woods. You draw your knife, no time for stealth. You follow, no calls, no shouts. Silence is their language, and you speak it too. A half-mile from the tower, you find it. A crude observation nest, dug into the hill, camo netting, scorched patch where a scope mount once stood. They were watching for days, and they left recently. But they left a mark. A circle burned into the bark of a tree, blackened, still warm, the symbol of the black quiet. Your heart doesn't race, it slows. They know. They heard the voices, the songs, the laughter, the signal. And now they're circling. You hurry back to Relay 3, seal the hatch, kill every unnecessary system. Inside, you initiate the lockout protocol Mara gave you, a failsafe that fractures the signal and redistributes it through ghost channels. Relay 3 dims, its grid icon switching from green to pulsing white. Anyone watching will think it's gone dark, dead. But inside, the network continues. You send out a burst warning. Relay 3 compromised. Status shadowed. Transmitting remotely only. Black quiet confirmed in proximity. Tower integrity at risk. Reassign routing. Responses ping instantly. Route rerouted. Acknowledge and withdraw. Grid integrity stable. Don't let to. Take it. You're not alone. Stay alive. You shut the mic and wait. Because now, you're not the broadcaster, you're the bait. The night is long, longer than any you remember. Inside Relay 3, every breath feels amplified. Every creak, every electronic hum, every beat of your heart sounds like a signal you didn't mean to send. But you stay quiet. You wait. And they come. You spot them just after midnight, silhouettes against the mist, crouched low, moving like shadows that learn to walk. 4, maybe 5 figures, unmarked, masked, no spoken commands, no flashlight, just body language and black gear, the black quiet. They fan out, searching. You hold your breath, watching through the slats of a security vent. They circle the tower, test the hatch, scan for heat. One lifts a signal detector, points it toward the trees. Another plants a small explosive charge near the relay door. You tap your comm, a low-band pulse. They're here, package confirmed, engaging phase 2. This was always part of the contingency, not a retreat, a response. 20 minutes later, the first counter-signal hits. From the tree line to the east, a sonic burst. Low frequency, high modulation, not a weapon, not lethal, just disruptive. The invaders stagger, hands to ears. One drops to a knee. That's when the grid fighters hit. You didn't know their names, just their call signs. People from Zephyr, from Drift, from Echo. They'd been tracking the Black Quiet for weeks. You were the bait. This was the trap. The first shot isn't fired. It's launched. A drone, flaring blue, blasting distortion signals and light bursts. The second? A flare, painting the sky in blood orange. You stay low, listening as bodies crash through brush. Orders hissed, punches landed. Not chaos, precision. 15 minutes later, it's over. The silence that follows is different, earned. You step outside. Mara appears from the trees, rifle slung over her back, face streaked with sweat and rain. You good? You nod. She gestures to the fallen. They weren't reared. Die for a world that fights back. From the ridge, a new tower crew unpacks relay extensions. Rafe oversees the installation of new solar skins. You realize they're not just protecting the net, they're expanding it. For every node the Black Quiet tries to silence, 3 more rise in defiance. You turn back toward the tower and whisper, "Your move." By morning, the tower is no longer a target. It's a stronghold. Mara's team works fast. Relay 3 is reinforced. New doors, motion sensors, solar arrays realigned for optimal charge. 2 scouts disappear into the forest to map the terrain. Another begins relaying tactical plans for defensive arcs and fallback zones. You step aside and watch them work. These are not survivors, they are builders, and they are done hiding. A new banner flutters on a pole just outside the tower, a tattered sheet marked with charcoal and wax. The symbol, not a flag. A waveform, one signal, carried forward. The reclaiming has begun. Across the grid, updates pour in. Tower 11 restored. Fire damage minimal. Community returned. Drift Valley sent signal seeds east. 3 new uplinks lit. Grid coverage expanding. Children at Zephyr reading stories over the line. We're broadcasting bedtime again. You sit at the console, scrolling through footage, voice logs, frequency patterns. Everywhere, people are moving back in. Old farms, train stations, collapsed city blocks. They're planting gardens beside antennas, hanging laundry on guy wires, building walls out of scavenged tech. The world isn't what it was, but it's starting, and the signal is stronger than ever. Then, something unexpected. An incoming burst from a high-altitude relay, Tower 2. You haven't heard from them in weeks. The message is short. We found one of the ARC modules. Deep orbit re-entry. Still warm. They're coming back. You stare at the message, mouth dry. The ones who fled? The ones who abandoned the grid? The original architects of the silence? They're returning. Mara steps beside you. She reads the screen, says nothing for a long time. Then, let them. You look at her. We'll be ready? She nods. They'll be returning to our world now, not theirs. The grid doesn't belong to the past anymore. It belongs to the ones who rebuilt it. You stand at the edge of the tower's platform, watching the valley below come alive. What was once dead land now breathes again. You see movement, families tending rows of green, teams repairing solar rigs, children chasing each other through the ruins of an old world that's finally letting go. You close your eyes. Listen. The silence that once ruled everything is gone. In its place, signal. Not just static, not just words, but voices, music, laughter, living sound. Relay, 3 pulses steadily behind you. The hum is comforting now, familiar. It's no longer the sound of desperation. It's the heartbeat of something new. Mara walks up beside you. No armor today, just worn boots and a half smile. Transmission cleared from all sectors, she says. The grid's running without us for now. You nod. It's time to move again. You're not tied to this place. You never were. You were meant to keep walking. She offers you something. An earpiece, low-band receiver, custom. We'll stay in touch. You take it, slide it into place. The moment it clicks in, you hear the net, soft, layered, always active. Hundreds of voices bouncing through towers like birds through trees. You shoulder your pack, lighter now but filled with tools that matter. Maps, power cells, a journal full of names and a transmitter, a seed. One more, for the next place. You walk out beyond the signal tower, down into the brush. The trail isn't marked. It doesn't have to be. Someone, somewhere, will hear your steps, and when they do, they'll know what it means. That someone's still out here, still walking, still building, still speaking. You crest a hill and pause. The valley stretches behind you, restored, before you, unknown. You smile to yourself and whisper into the wind, welcome to the end. Then you take the next step and begin again.